Hello, my name is Jim. This is my podcast, The Bloody Vegans. You're very welcome to it. Each week, I'll be traveling ever deeper into the world of veganism, discovering along the way a multitude of viewpoints from the political and ethical to the practical. I'll be doing this through a series of conversations, each aiming to further illuminate my understanding and hopefully yours of all things plant centric. In this week's episode, I'm going to be chatting with Jade Crawford, head chef at Forest Green Rovers. To my knowledge, the world's first and only vegan football club or soccer if you're not from these shores. So Jade is an incredible chef, obviously catering for a unique football crowd. On a week by week basis, some sort of 3 to 4,000 people on a weekly basis that she is making provision for through excellent vegan food. I may say, having been there a good few times now, it is second to none at any sporting arena that I've ever kind of had the pleasure to go to. So more power to Jade. Excellent work. We're going to be chatting about all kinds of things, including the kind of current lockdown and also Jade's incredible new website, Jade's Green Kitchen, where for the first time we're going to get access to some of Jade's recipes via this kind of exclusive online blog. So check out this conversation between me and Jade Crawford from Forest Green Rovers. Where you're at the moment, Jade, like it's pretty difficult to run a kitchen in an incredibly successful football club when there is no football. So
it is. Yeah.
how's it going with you at the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks now I think it's been about a week that Forest Green completely got into hibernation. So we're planning on working on next season stuff, you know, like getting everything prepared, writing menus, just everything like that. And yeah, and then we've like just gone completely furlough now. Forest Green's not in action. So, I mean, I live on my own. I'm self-isolating in Stroud. I've only moved to Stroud about a month ago as well, so picked a great time for it. But I've just been like, so I haven't been doing Forest Green work, but I have, obviously cooking's like one of my hugest passions, so I have been cooking a lot, and it's actually kind of brought back my love for intricate cooking. So obviously at Forest Green I do huge batch cooking, so I have to make sure that everything, you know, like things aren't plated. It's more like buffet style, unless you're in a suite, and even then it's not really plated, it's still buffet, it's just smaller. So here I've been obviously cooking for myself, so I've like been putting it on a plate, I've been nicely presenting it. So I've been doing that. I've been writing up new recipes. I've been working on my website, which will kind of go live in the next few days, hopefully. My brother set it up for me because he's an absolute pro, but I've been kind of editing myself, so it's not going to be the most professional website in the world, but at least people can see my recipes instead of me posting a picture and being like, yeah, here's a picture of my food, but I'm not going to tell you what's in it. So yeah, I've just been doing that. And then I haven't actually been trying to focus too much on cooking because it will like make me go a bit crazy if that's all I do. So, you know, I've been painting, I've been learning to juggle. I've been, you know, just like doing things that kind of just kind of I can lose my mind in a little bit. Exercising obviously, but I would do that anyway. Just have to do it, run outside rather than in the gym, and do home workouts, which is fine. But you know, it's just different. It's different not getting out, you know, because I'm quite a sociable person. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited about the website. So for getting to finally sort of get some of your recipes and get cooking with some of them. So like you mentioned the idea sort of came almost from like posting things on social media and almost thinking, you know, I haven't actually shared the recipe here, I've just shared this image. Was that the kind of the inception, or have you kind of long thought about, you know, whether it be blogs or recipe writing or cookery books? Has that long been a plan of yours?
Yeah, it has been, to be honest, and it's because it like everything's so busy when the football season's on. I've been like, right, I need to do it, and I mean, I was hoping to kind of write a cookbook, but obviously all that will be on hold now for ages because of what's going on with the corona. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to use this time to do things that I've been needing to do, and one of the things I need to do is just make a platform where I can just post my recipes, because the amount of people that will reply to a story or just write on under the picture on my Instagram, can you share the recipe, and I'll end up just typing out the recipe for them. But so if I just had that platform that was literally there, so I could just be like, right, I made this today, I'll type up the recipe, here you go, the link is in my bio, easy as that. And once it's done, and I can keep up with it. But it was just getting that initial stage done, really. So yeah, nearly there.
And have you sort of put pen to paper yet? Have you got some recipes ready to go, ready to post on the website?
I mean, I've probably got about 6 notepads full of recipes. That's just from like because I don't really. When I cook, even at Forest Green, I kind of, I'll just kind of make it up as I go along, in a way, especially at home. Like I do it, I'll never look at a recipe at home unless it's something specific I want to make. But whenever I make anything at home, I will just literally jot down what I've put in it. And that's even back in when I was in Australia. I've got like 2 notepads from when I was in Australia cooking. I've never like actually physically written them out. So I've got a load of recipes that I could get through. Yeah. What I was actually thinking of doing in this quarantine period is because obviously people are finding it quite hard to get certain things from the shops. What I was thinking is I could do, say, 5 posts a week of, say, a certain vegetable. So if you went onto my website and you typed in sweet potato in the search button, it would come up with all the sweet potato recipes. So anything you can do with sweet potato, and they could be quite simple recipes that hopefully you'd have in your cupboard. So like this week I went wild garlic picking, because I don't know if you've been, I don't know if it's the same where you live, but you can find wild garlic just everywhere at the moment, mainly in forests and stuff. So I went and picked a huge bunch of wild garlic, and I've just been creating recipes around that now. So trying to get like people out there, and like if you do live near a place where you can pick wild garlic, it's such a good, like you can pretty much put it with anything, but it's such a good addition to a recipe because it's just gives that such a good garlicky flavour. It's really tasty, and it's really good for you as well.
I imagine super fresh at the moment and full of flavour.
Yeah, it's best to pick it now and in maybe the next month or so, because that's when it stays fresh. It's when the leaves go a little bit yellowy browny that you can't that you shouldn't really use it. It goes a bit sour. But I mean, yeah, it's got loads of benefits. It kind of like helps reduce your blood pressure, and it's got loads of vitamins in it, like vitamins A and C, and it's got like antiviral properties and stuff, which obviously would be very good in this time. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Super helpful. I love this idea of sort of supporting people through this difficult time with these recipes based on sort of in individual vegetables. I mean,
do you like that? Yeah.
I think it's an awesome idea. I mean, I've certainly been in that boat myself. Like you tend to. I don't know about you, but I'm buying what's available, and what I've found tends to be available is actually fresh vegetables. I'm only shopping sort of on a week by week basis still when I can get like an online slot, or trying to go sort of super small and local, like to a greengrocers if there's still those kind of open. And so the things that tend to be available don't tend to be the tinned long life stuff, because everyone seems to be buying into those. But getting potatoes and carrots and things like that, actually, they seem quite readily available. But knowing what to do with them is probably my biggest challenge. So that's like, I think, a super helpful idea. You doing that. So if we had a recipe, I'm putting you on the spot here, but like top of your head, like 2 or 3 things to do with, say, sweet potato, like that would be kind of straightforward. Most people would have the majority of the ingredients in their kind of cupboards. What would be your kind of advice?
So sweet potato, one of my favourite ways to have sweet potato is sweet potato jacket. Really tasty. And you can get the outside really crunchy and then the inside's just like fluff. So what I recently had, really simple, I had sweet potato jacket with some chickpeas. I mean, they're also quite hard to come by. I think the shops are kind of starting to restock now, but I mean, you could do beans, you could do other veg, you can do like lentils, whatever you've got in your cupboard really. But all you need to do is like fry off the chickpeas with some like paprika, cumin. I stuck some coriander in there and just some coconut yogurt just to make the sauce, and just poured that on top of my sweet potato jacket, and that was just like, it was like four ingredients, and it was just really tasty.
And not particularly expensive either.
No, exactly. No, I mean, coconut yogurt obviously isn't overly easy to come by. It might not be, I'm not sure, in a lot of places, but I mean, you can make a sauce with pretty much anything. Like if you want to make a roux, you can just use plant-based milk, so like butter, flour, and then plant-based milk, and you've got your sauce base, and then you can add any flavours to that to make a sauce,
Talking sauce bases, actually, but I'm sorry, I've cut across your sweet potato recipe.
That's all right.
I'll have to go back to those. Absolutely critical. I want to hear at least another 2 sweet potato top tips. But you just reminded me when you're talking about sauce bases that I watched recently your video. I think it was on Joe when you did the kind of interview, the plant-powered kind of series on Joe.
Yeah.
And you were talking about making a bechamel sauce. And I wanted to make a bechamel sauce at home. So I was trying to piece together from that video because it was really short. It wasn't obviously a recipe. You were just kind of very quickly
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about making macaroni cheese,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to make it for my little one. So,
Aww.
bit of advice whilst I've got you. So,
Yeah, no worries.
how do I start making a vegan bechamel?
Right, so I always go with the ratio. I mean, well, if you're making a standard sauce for your size family, I was just thinking I don't always go at that because I'm making it at work. I do way more, but I'm just not even going to talk about that. So I go 85 grams of plant-based spread to 100 grams of flour, and then so you melt the vegan spread first. And then add the flour once it's melted. Give it a really good stir so you get like this really thick paste. And then once you've got the paste, keep it on the heat, but slowly add like plant-based milk and whisk it. Just keep whisking, and as the milk heats, it will just get hotter and hotter and hotter. Thicker and thicker. Obviously, it will get hotter when it heats. So yeah, what am I saying? So keep whisking it. Once it heats up, it will keep getting thicker. And then that's literally it. Just keep adding your milk until you've got the amount that you want. You can probably, with the ratio, what I just gave you of the 85 grams to 100 grams, you could probably use about 1 litre of plant-based milk.
Yeah.
And and that'll be like a nice consistency then. And then you can just add like whatever you're putting in. So if I was doing a vegan mac and cheese, I'd put in nutritional yeast, mustard powder, sometimes chili, but depends on like who's eating. Obviously, you wouldn't give your child chili. I don't know. A lot of kids don't like spicy food, and vegan cheese. So I just grate it in and let it melt, and then some salt, pepper. And that's about it, really.
Nice, very
tasty.
Nice.
Pretty simple, really effective, and you can literally not tell the difference if you get a good vegan cheese.
And at the moment, I'm just thinking things that are in my house. Like I've definitely got spread, I've definitely got flour, and plant milk. Actually, like I've found going to the smaller kind of manufacturers. Like I personally, I mean, I know you're a big Oatly barista fan. I went to Minor Figures.
Yeah,
and like you can do a decent sized order from Minor Figures, and it just came in like a couple of days, and so I'm like really nicely stocked up actually, and you even get a free
handy.
sticker.
Nice. I wouldn't mind a new sticker.
I do love a sticker. So it was shout out to Minor Figures. I think it was a really good job. So would you typically, in that kind of bechamel, if you're making that mac and cheese, would you use an oat milk?
Yeah, it depends what I've got. So at work I'd always use oat milk, because obviously Oatly are our sponsors. At home, to be fair, the only plant-based milk I have is Oatly because I love it. But I did actually start off drinking almond milk before I even went vegan. I started drinking almond milk actually. So that's what I started off on. But then as soon as I tried oat milk in tea, I just couldn't. Just nothing was the same again.
It's next. it's the king of the plant milks, I say. Personally.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I just love their branding, and like obviously I've met a lot of the.
Oatly's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so awesome, and I've met a lot of the staff at Oatly, and they're all just such lovely people. I'm Oatly through and through.
I don't blame you. It's Scandinavian business, isn't it? Oatly.
Swedish.
Swedish, yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Very
Glad
cool.
I knew the answer to that one.
I had a feeling it was, and I couldn't remember if it was Swedish or Norwegian or Danish. I couldn't quite remember, but yeah, they're very cool. And obviously I think they're on the shorts, aren't they? Forest Green Rovers, something like that.
Yeah, and I think on the back of the shirt as well.
Is it?
Yeah,
Lovely.
So that's cool. Yeah, because their logo is awesome as well. So it's really cool.
They've got some really cool adverts, haven't they? The like milk but for humans advert.
We've got that on the stadium, like as one of the adverts on one of the stands. Just says like milk for humans. It's hilarious.
Very cool. I love it.
Going back to what we were saying about beans and stuff like that, like tinned food. Do you find it funny how I don't know if you've seen the meme, but it cracked me up loads when I heard it. So, I didn't hear it, I saw it, but it's when people take the mick out of vegans because how do you survive on a vegan diet? And then it says, oh, look at everyone now stocking up on all their chickpeas and like tinned soups and everything like that.
I know. Like it totally. I've felt this recently. I got into a supermarket and obviously, you know, responsibly socially distancing and all the rest of it. But I was in a supermarket going down the aisle, which is usually like my home, probably your home too, but you know, where all the lentils and the chickpeas are and stuff. And I was like, I felt like I'd been sort of personally robbed. I was like, hold on a minute, there's less than 1% of us. This is not your aisle. Get back down your meat aisle. Like,
yeah, exactly. Now you want it. So funny.
Yeah, it's totally true, that meme. And even, I don't know if you found this, but even which is why actually I turned to Minor Figures, and I'm glad I did, because I'll just keep doing that now instead of going to the supermarket for plant milk. But the plant milk aisle as well, obviously because it's long life, was like empty.
Oh god, yeah.
So
people are enjoying exactly because they can keep it in their cupboard for a month or two.
Totally.
But that just shows, doesn't it?
So there's one part of me thinking, well, this is quite good because, you know, they're going to taste it. They'll buy Oatly Barista. They'll buy, you know, Minor Figures. They'll buy Alpro, whatever it is. They'll pick their milk. They'll love it. And then they won't go back, and it'll be awesome. And by the end of this, we'll have loads of vegans. Was my sort of very optimistic viewpoint.
Yeah.
And then on a personal note, I was kind of like, they've taken all the milk.
Yeah. What are we supposed to drink?
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's true. Well, hopefully you're right. Hopefully that is the case, and people see, like, people get used to drinking it. Like, it's not like there isn't cow's milk on the shelves at the moment anyway. But I guess people are just thinking, well, it saves me another trip to the shop.
Yeah, I snuck it in for my parents' delivery as well. I was doing them a food shop, so I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to buy them some oat milk and tell them, well, it's long life, so, you know, give it a try, pop it in your tea, all the rest of it.
Love it.
We'll see how
that's
it goes.
Good. Yeah.
Anyway, we went off into bechamel, my fault, when we were talking about sweet potatoes.
We were talking about sweet potatoes.
So we had an awesome baked sweet potato recipe.
Yep, yeah, nice.
What else are we saying?
I mean, sweet potato as a potato, as a vegetable is so versatile in itself. Like, obviously, you can roast it, you can mash it, you can have a jacket potato, you can make it into chips. You know, you can do so many different things with it. So I don't know, like, like a roasted sweet potato salad with like a nice homemade dressing. Like, obviously, yeah, if you like roast them, you can put like, on my Instagram, I've got a picture of a roasted sweet potato and grilled artichoke salad with like a peppercorn creamy dressing. It's probably my favourite salad that I've ever eaten because I love grilled artichokes as well. I don't know what happens to them when you cook them. The flavour, the saltiness, like the flavour just it enhances so much. It's really, really good. So definitely worth trying that. Like you can make shepherd's pie with sweet potato on top instead of normal potato. I mean, possibilities are endless.
Pretty versatile, right?
Yeah, I mean, all vegetables are. Like, I think my one tip for people, obviously, you said earlier about you go to the shop and there's no tin stuff, but there's a lot of fresh stuff at the moment, which is like annoying if you want to go to the shop, if you don't want to go to the shop as often. But at the same time, if you buy the hardy vegetables like potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, you know, broccoli will probably last about 4 days, so before it starts getting a bit soft. Cauliflower lasts quite a while. Butternut squash is amazing. Like that will last about a month. And you can, and again, so versatile. So I think the best thing to do is buy your hard vegetables that will last a while, and then you've got vegetables for every meal then for like a week, 2 weeks. You know, so you just have to. I mean, I went to the shop the other day and bought some I love a smoothie in the morning after my run, and I bought some strawberries, and like in 2 days they were just pretty much off. So I finished them up, but I went to the shop again today and I thought, what's the point in buying strawberries? Because I have to fit them all into 2 smoothies because they just go off so quickly, which is a shame. So
Have you kind of like you talk about the strawberry bit there? Have you kind of like adapted your shop since you've been trying to perhaps shop less socially distance a bit more, that kind of stuff? Has there been some
mm,
like adaptations across the rest of like your typical food shop? Have you been eating slightly differently as a result, would you say?
I'd say I've been eating differently in the way that I've been cooking a lot more for myself. Because obviously being a chef and working, like if we have an event on, I'll just kind of nibble at work and then I'll just have a snack in the evening or something. So I've definitely been cooking for myself a lot better than I would. I always, even when like before this stuff happened, I'd always have a smoothie in the morning, whether it be, just like a strawberry, banana, and apple, or just like a green smoothie, which I love, which is kale, spinach, lettuce, apple, pear, and banana. I think, isn't it? Yeah. So that's a real. Oh, and did I say and celery as well? So that's one of my favourite smoothies. But I don't know. Like I've definitely been cooking for myself more. I'd say I mean, when I could, my first shop on this quarantine business, there was no tin food. There was nothing. So I just literally bought fresh food and was just making salads. But now the shops are restocking a little bit more. I'm kind of buying a few more tin stuff. I made like a veggie bean burger the other day, just for like some chickpeas and some vegetables all like mushed up and put into a patty, basically, which was quite nice. I actually made some bread as well the other day, which I never ever do because it's kind of like time consuming, isn't it? And I guess I end up I feel like this has opened my eyes a lot to how much time I spend with people as well. So if I'm not at work, I can be at home, but I'll have someone round, or I love my own space. But when you're kind of forced to have your own space, it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. How are you
Yeah.
how are you kind of getting on with that? Are you I mean, you mentioned that you started to refine some creative pursuits.
Mhm.
Like, has that been kind of the experience so far? Like, whether it be bread making or painting or learning to juggle, that you've kind of like started to realize that there's more time to do some of those things you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, 100%. It's and do you know what it's? I mean, so when I was traveling Australia, I had a lot of time to myself, and this is kind of where like I picked up a lot of these hobbies. Like I before that I was such a sociable person. I was because I live with people. I live with six other people. Like I was just always with people, always with my friends. And then being in Australia, that was like a huge shock to me because I'd never spent time alone. I'd never really kind of thought, what do I want to do now? What can I do? Can I pick up and read a book? Can I, So that time then has now helped me to bring that part of me back and realize, okay, so I've got all this stuff that I can be doing. I'm literally looking at it right now. I've got like a pile of hundreds of books in here. I've got like my DJ decks that I haven't done since I've been back from Australia, pretty much because I've just been, no, I wouldn't like spending time with people is amazing and it's great, but then you're not really kind of gaining any skills apart from like people skills or social skills. You're not gaining anything from hanging out with people all the time. It's so important to keep learning, like just keep your brain active all the time. And I feel like that's this quarantine has definitely pushed me to do that. Yeah, which is good. It's a good thing. I just hope it doesn't go on too long.
Yeah, there's like a threshold, right? Like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
novelty might wear off at a
Yeah,
certain point.
yeah, for sure,
Um,
definitely.
being in such like a people focused role, like your role like on a Saturday afternoon, it's like, I mean, there's such a buzz from it. There's thousands of people, feeding them all, loads of conversations, lots of, hard work to be done. Like, to go from that pace to where we're kind of at now, has it kind of made you sort of take a bit of stock, if you like, on kind of life in general? That's quite a deep question.
Yeah, it has. Like I was constantly busy. Like like I used my iPhone as a calendar, and it was just like dot 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 on every day, and just always something. And it's so weird. Like now, you just look at it and there's nothing, and it's like it makes you realise how busy life was back then. Back then, it was like a week ago, but still, it feels like so much longer.
Feel like so much longer there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it makes you realise. It does make you like, more in touch with yourself. Like I've been doing meditating for the last few days, which I do struggle with a bit actually because my mind wanders a lot. But they say that's a good thing, so I'm just going to keep up with that. And yoga and everything like that. It's definitely a good time to be in touch with yourself, and I think the worst thing you can do is kind of mope around and just sit there and watch telly, meaningless telly. Like if you're watching documentaries that you're learning from, that's great. But to sit there and just watch series after series, your mind's just going to go numb. Like you're not going to gain anything. So you just need to try and take this as a positive and use it to your advantage, I guess.
Yeah, totally agree. It's I think there's a lot of sort of stock taking, if you like, going on across. I hope there is anyway. I wonder. I'd love to get your view on it, but I do wonder. We've talked about like the oat milk aisles and so on, and just before we started recording, we were talking about like pollution levels and stuff. I'm kind of intrigued as to your view. Do you kind of? I know it's really early to say, but do you think there'll be kind of long-lasting change off the back of this kind of sort of almost like social experience that we're all kind of going through, this collective experience?
So do you mean for the planet, or?
Yeah, I guess like on all levels. Like, do you think we'll change the way we interact with each other, or the way we treat the planet, the food system? There's so many angles you could look at this and say.
So many.
I wonder if we would start to reflect on the way that we, I don't know, animal agriculture, or the way we've been polluting the planet, or, what's your view on it?
So, I mean, I have quite a lot of views on this, but I mean, with the animal agriculture aspect, like I've heard a lot of people saying, because obviously, with the blue skies coming in, I think it's amazing. Can you believe like 1 week humans in quarantine and the weather's like the best it's been for about a year, which is nuts. But like people are saying, oh yeah, but farms are still going, animal agriculture is still going, people are still buying meat, but the pollution, the CO2 emissions have dropped. But I just said, but the thing is, yeah, people are still buying meat, but nowhere near in the consumption of what we were buying meat. Were buying meat, because like if you think McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, all the huge chains that would I think McDonald's 28 million patties a week they go through in beef, and that's just beef. So that's declined completely. So yeah, people are still buying off probably local farmers that will sell to the supermarkets, maybe even some bigger, chains that sell to supermarkets. But it's nowhere. I'd love to know the actual meat sales dropped since this has happened. But I think with this whole coronavirus pandemic, where everyone's wearing gloves and wearing masks, it's creating a lot more waste than we would, which to be honest can't really be helped at the moment because of what's going on. But hopefully, I don't know. I think it will be hard for people to either, if this goes on for months, people either have anxiety, it's like social anxiety because they're not used to it. People will either go crazy because they can go out again. There'll probably be a load of divorces in 2021 and a load of babies being born in the beginning of next year. I just think I really find it hard to see how society will go back to how it was. I think it will be hard to see how the world will go back to what it was, to be honest, especially for small businesses. That this is like 2020, 2019, last 2-3 years, the incline in the amount of small businesses, the amount of people that are, doing their own thing, it's been amazing. And now this has happened, like a lot of those small businesses will unfortunately have to shut down. It's really sad.
it really is. I mean, and that bit I think is that's really interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, we've all sort of the kind of gig economy, if you like, everyone being self-employed, everyone having 6 or 7 different jobs and revenue streams and side hustles and this, that, the other, and social media being so intrinsic to people's kind of businesses, and obviously social media is not necessarily stopped, but people are promoting things, aren't they? They're promoting a service they provide, or um, it might be a creative skill that they have. It might be being a personal trainer, any of these kind of things. And I think I see so many of these amazing businesses, small business owners in the vegan community, and it does sort of worry me that they're not going to get they're not going to survive this. And I think it's sort of incumbent upon us to all support them as much as we can remotely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's all we can do, really. It just, it's a shame that from what's going to happen with this is that the bigger businesses that are able to stay open in this time will actually benefit more. So, in the people that need it the most, that they won't get it.
It is quite I think there's a lot of potential positives that could come out of this. But I almost like, but there's so many negatives. I just hope that we don't lose sight of the positives too. The blue skies, and actually I could drink plant milk, and I could eat vegan food, and I felt a lot better, and even the like being outdoors and spending time with our families, like
yeah, exactly, being closer to nature, because that's the one time a day we can go out, so go for a walk, which I'm sure like the majority of the population never do, so that's the really good thing to get people out.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about your expeditions to get the wild garlic,
Yeah.
would you have necessarily had the time or inclination to do that if you were working your full-time job, and then you've got friends lined up to see and all that kind of stuff, and then what sort of benefit do you have, like on a real individual level, like how good is it almost for the soul, without sounding too like hokey, that you got to go out and experience that, being that in contact with nature and the food sourced directly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it actually is so true, because I wouldn't have. I literally probably wouldn't have, because I would have got home late from work. Well, not late, probably about 4 or 5-ish, and then have dinner by the time. I wouldn't just go, oh, I'm going to go up to Amberley for a walk this afternoon. But I will make sure that I do put that into my like every other day routine from now on. Don't get me wrong, like I love walking, but things just get in the way when life's busy. So it is. Yeah, it's definitely got me a lot more in touch with nature, and just foraging, like finding your own food. What an amazing thing! Like the fact that there is still food out there that you can just go and pick and use as a herb in your cooking. I think that's pretty amazing.
Have you been doing that for a while? Are you quite sort of skilled at that? Because it does require a bit of skill. I don't think I'm probably too much of a city dweller, if you like, to have to be able to wander out into the countryside and pick sort of safely and confidently.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that sort of skill?
Again, Australia.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously different out there because they have different things growing and everything like that. But working on a lot of farms, that kind of got me in touch with things growing, because, they wouldn't, if I work on say a tomato farm, they'd have other things growing there as well. So I'd get to know, I've got probably every herb you can imagine growing in my kitchen right now. Which is, I love growing vegetables and herbs, and I haven't really got the space to grow vegetables because it's not exactly. I've got an avocado tree, which is amazing, but it's still a baby, so it's not actually giving me any avocados. But yeah, I just love the fact that I can just cook and then just grab a bit of rosemary off of my growing bush. That's something that I'd love to do at Forest Green one day, actually, is have a little big greenhouse where we can grow vegetables and herbs and stuff.
That would be very cool. I wanted to talk to you about as we were talking about this idea of supporting local businesses. I'm just it reminds me of the last trip I had to Forest Green, and it was really cool because I didn't know that you guys were sort of in talks with or being supported by in any way, but I had I think it was Biff's chicken wings there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And whilst they're not local to Forest Green necessarily, they're like a small up and coming business who are doing some incredible things. And I was just intrigued as to like um, whether that was something that like you came across and sort of got on their menu, or whether the club had worked with them before, or where those sort of relationships kind of come from, because there's been a few, hasn't there, over the years?
Yeah, there has actually. So with Biff's, so our commercials manager Paula, she actually got in touch with them. We'd been in chats with them before. I'm pretty sure they'd been to the ground once, and then Paula got in touch with them and just said, how would you like to be our menu partner for this game? And what they do is they supply the starter, and then like we put it on social media and everything like that, and which was amazing. And people went mad for their wings. They absolutely loved it. They're great, aren't they? I love Biffs. I love their branding. They're amazing people. So it was really nice. It was a really cool game actually when you came, wasn't it? Because it was there was a lot of people there. It was a really busy one. But yeah, they so stuff like that. Like, I mean, Paul will reach out to people. I'll reach out to people on Instagram. I mean, I don't use any other social networking site really apart from Instagram. I just prefer it. I prefer it to any other one. So I reach like if I see a new brand, or if I see a brand that would be in fitting with Forest Green, like I'll get in touch, or sometimes people will get in touch with me. LinkedIn also, people will get in touch on there if they've got new, not new, if they just got a vegan food brand, So it's cool. Like people reach out, I reach out. We all do our bit to kind of try and make those relationships with people and different brands and stuff.
Yeah, it's just such a cool example, I think, of the club and you, and sort of supporting the vegan community at large through the food particularly. And
Definitely.
yeah, I hadn't ever heard of them until sort of trying the wings for the starter, and was like, this is
Ah.
incredible, like really cool. The little sugar cane bone kind of
I
idea is really cute as
know.
well.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because when I first tried them that actually reminds me of where we met them. Me and Paula went to a Bid Foods event, which was Bid Foods, like one of our suppliers, and Biff's sell through Bid Foods. So we met them at the event, and like we tried one of their bones, and I was like, I was a bit weirded out. I was like, I'm vegan. No, he was like, oh no, the bone's made of sugarcane. You can actually eat it as well. I was like, what? So yeah, I was a bit like blown away by that actually, and I think it's a bit of a bit of a funny one because some people do struggle with meat substitutes that are too alike, like vegans. So you've got obviously different types of vegans. You've got your vegans that do it because they hate meat. The vegans do it because they like meat, but they don't want to do it for the animals or the planet, anything like that. So for me, I used to be quite a big meat eater, but I've changed my ways due to, the harm of animals, my health, animal planet, everything like that. So if I can get a good meat substitute now and again, if I fancy it, then why not? But I think some people actually don't like it when it's too real, like with the bone or something like that. So I mean, for the football ground, I think it worked really well because it is mainly meat eaters that come to the ground. So I think people absolutely loved it. But then I had talks from long-term vegans that said it was a bit too much, like it was just a bit too real. It was a bit too real for me. So that's fair enough. Yeah, everyone each to their own and all that. So
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Like it wasn't ever about the taste necessarily. I mean, what I have found though is like over the course of time, some meat substitutes that taste too real. It's not that I dislike the taste. It's just that it reminds me a bit too much of
the texture.
yeah, the texture and the kind of like I've got too much of an association with the kind of the, with the, whether it's the animal agriculture industry or the climate change or the rest of it, it all sort of sticks with me a bit too much.
Yeah.
So occasionally I just get a bit weirded out, but very rarely I actually like with the Biff's wings, like I felt like they were suitably like different enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still felt like a really kind of like awesome treat, and like yeah, just a really kind of great starter like on that particular day. It was awesome.
Nice. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was ace. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think I don't know about you, but I found like over the course of my time being vegan that my palate has changed quite significantly. I used to be a lot more into the meat substitutes in the first kind of year or so, and I think as I've got probably slightly better at cooking, obviously not in your league, but like, as I've got slightly better, I've perhaps like just not bothered so much because I've kind of felt like more comfortable cooking with vegetables. I don't know if you sort of obviously you probably have as a chef, but
no, 100%. And so when I cook for myself or just even at home, like if I'm cooking for people, I rarely use meat substitutes just because I think as a lot of people, especially meat eaters, will say, if you're vegan, then why do you need the meat substitute? Which I do get what they're saying, but at the end of the day, there's no harm and suffering going into that soy product or whatever it's made from, like some people just like that texture. So it is good when you're cooking for meat eaters, but for me, like when I cook for just myself, I won't use meat substitutes. I don't really see the point. I think that food tastes good without them, and you can get a meaty texture from beans. You can get, I really do like sunflower mince, which is made from sunflower seeds. So I think it's really high in protein. It's like really healthy, but I wouldn't call that a meat substitute because it is actually it's literally made directly from a plant. It's made from sunflower seeds, if that makes sense. Whereas it's not, you kind of dehydrate it in a bowl and it looks like a meat, like in mince. But at the same time, it's not exactly like mince, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not been sort of fabricated.
No.
I'm with you. Like, it's not been synthesized to be meat from a variety of other ingredients. It kind of is minced sunflower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you go to a restaurant, a lot of these restaurants have got like the Moving Mountains or the Beyond Meat burgers and stuff. It's just mad how they've done it, like how realistic it is, actually.
Yeah, it is like that. Those sort of I go back and forth with, because like on a palate wise point of view, like it's like it tastes amazing. It feels like a sort of your traditional sort of dirty burger, if you like. Like it does a job, absolutely. But with the same token, I do feel a bit like I don't know, like what is this kind of like, has it got the health benefits that I kind of would want to see from veganism?
Exactly, because that's the thing as well. My first ever reason for going vegan was literally because of my health reasons. I had my skin wasn't very good. I actually had IBS when I was a bit younger, so I went vegetarian. So being vegan really helped that. So then if I'm going to go on to then eating these meat substitutes, not all of them, like some of them are actually can be quite healthy, but a lot of them are very high in saturated fat, high in salt, to get that flavour. So if you want to be a healthy vegan, then probably best just using natural foods like beans, legumes, vegetables. You can make so much from them.
Yeah, there's I was chatting to somebody a while back who's actually in the kind of burger manufacturing business, guy from Miami Burger called Tom Bursnell. And
I listened to that one actually.
Oh, thank you. And he was talking about like coconut oil in most of these like burgers that kind of we've all got an association, and he was essentially saying it's kind of a media created association that coconut oil is like this sort of superfood almost, and we're like putting it on our hair and we're eating it and we're doing this, that, and the other. And he was kind of saying it's got an incredibly high saturated fat level, and it still hasn't whilst it's useful in cooking to some degree, like, some of these kind of burgers and meat substitutes, and he was even talking about a particular chocolate bar. I didn't name the brand, but a popular chocolate bar in the vegan community that's sort of 60% coconut oil, and so just got massive saturated fat issues, and arguably is less healthy than the kind of non-vegan equivalent. Arguably, obviously, there's all sorts of debate about that, but yeah, I don't know. I still don't really know which way to sit on the kind of coconut oil debate. I don't know if you've got any views on it.
I do, and I'm really glad you brought that up, actually, because you've just reminded me of when I listened to that podcast, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that, because I completely agree. Like, coconut oil does have a really high saturated fat, but it's good fat. So, it's got a high, for example, using it in cooking, like, it's got the highest smoke point, apart from maybe rapeseed oil. But you should never use olive oil in cooking because it hasn't got a high smoke point. That should always be used for like salad dressings and stuff.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, it can actually it can be toxic if it's heated too much.
Right.
So, yeah. There's so many benefits of coconut oil. It's just like you said, in your hair. Like, I've been using coconut oil in my hair for years, and it makes it feel amazing after I've washed it out. I use it on my skin. It's a boosting good cholesterol. So obviously it's saturated fat, but it's not high in cholesterol like cow's milk is. So, like you're saying, arguably it's more healthy than it's less healthy than the dairy chocolate bar. But when you look at all the rubbish that goes into cow's milk after it's processed, I definitely wouldn't probably say that, because it's got a lot more cholesterol in it than coconut oil. It's good for your blood sugar, so it balances that out. It's aids liver health. So it can kind of help flush you out. It's an energy booster. And yeah, it's just, it's an all-round pretty good. And I don't think saturated fat isn't always necessarily a bad thing, unless it's processed saturated fat, like trans fats and stuff like that. So, it's a natural fat, and that's all it comes down to. Just like your omega-3, 9, 6, they're all natural fats, and you need fat in your diet, especially as a vegan, not getting animal fats and everything like that. Everyone needs a certain amount of fat in their diet, and coconut oil isn't necessarily a bad place to get that. Just don't overdo it,
Well, there we go. Thank you for that.
That's all right.
I feel more enriched in the coconut oil discussion now.
Oh, good. Because when I listened to it, I was like, oh God, I hope that doesn't stop people from everyone has views, and nutrition's such a huge topic that can be debated for hours, because it's constantly changing. New research is always being done, but I think I just wouldn't want people to think bad of coconut oil, because it's a great product, but obviously you've got to remember you need to get extra virgin unrefined coconut oil. That's the best stuff to get. Oh, and also what I do every morning, which I promise you works 100%, is I'll wake up and I'll put a blob of put about a teaspoon's worth of coconut oil in my mouth, and I will swish it around my mouth. It's called oil pulling. I'm sure you've probably heard of it. I'll swish it around my mouth for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then spit it out, brush my teeth. And I think you can probably notice a difference within 2 weeks that your teeth are whiter.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it 100% works. It's amazing. I tell everyone about it.
There you go. And what coconut oil do you need to use to do that?
Just extra virgin unrefined.
Extra virgin unrefined coconut oil.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just, so what it does is it will draw. Not only does it kind of clean your teeth, it draws out toxins from your stomach. So that's why it's best to do it before you've eaten for the day. So as soon as you've woken up, it's better to do it then, because what it does is it will kind of pull out toxins from your stomach. And also an important message is that don't swallow the coconut oil like if once you've because obviously because of bad stuff has been brought up, you don't then want to put it back down in your stomach. And it kills harmful bacteria within your mouth, and it will help it help with tooth decay, bad breath, gum disease. It prevents cavities and inflammation and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You've changed my views on coconut oil.
Nice, I'm glad about that. I'm glad you brought it up, actually. It's one of those things where you listen to and you're like, no, I wish I could have my input.
Well, you're always welcome to come and do a reaction podcast if there's anything you feel particularly
amazing
is incorrect. Feel free, let me know. We'll do it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. He's obviously done. What was the man's name? Sorry,
Tom Bursnell.
Tom, yes, I'm sure Tom's obviously done his research. I'm not calling him, a liar. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but from my personal experience and my research, that's what I think. And I mean, it's just a bit. It's like gold, liquid gold. I think sometimes solid.
There you go. Coconut.
Yeah.
You also taught me a little bit about olive oil because I probably naively, and probably anyone listening is going, how did you not know that? But you'd
be surprised. A lot of people don't actually know that.
Yeah, I thought you could merrily go on cooking with olive oil. Although, to be honest, I'm a rapeseed oil user generally. Is my sort of oil of choice.
Yeah, I do. I prefer rapeseed oil. I actually use rapeseed oil at the club, and it's a pretty amazing story actually about Forest Green. We get local rapeseed oil delivered to us, and then once we've used them in the fryers, we'll put the rapeseed oil back into the barrels that they get delivered in, and then they'll then take it away, and then they'll use it to recycle it to make biodiesel for the tractors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So that's cool. Yeah. So rapeseed oil is good. And do you know what? People always comment about the chips at Forest Green. And I'm like, what is I get their chips in clean oil. That's great. Surely they're like that in most places. But I think it's just because it is organic rapeseed oil. That's it. Totally. That's all that's put in it.
Yeah.
Whereas I've heard McDonald's in their fryers, they'll put there's chemicals and just in the chip fryers.
Yeah. Well, it's not, your standard crisp and dry or whatever. Not that I know anything about crisp and dry, so don't sue me. Crisp and dry, but don't name brand names. But it's not your typical sort of shop bought oil, is it? That you guys use. So I imagine that's what they're tasting, right? That freshness and the freshness of the ingredients and the like you say, the clean oil and the organic oil and all the rest of it. So.
100%,
but they are awesome. There's no,
I'm glad you like them.
Yeah, it's only a shame I don't live closer because I think I'd just pop up on a Saturday just to get something to eat.
Love that. Brilliant.
It's about time they started a restaurant chain that you looked after for them.
I know, that'd be good, wouldn't it? The future, definitely. Hopefully.
At least some products we could buy in supermarkets.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say something, but actually I don't think that I can say that just because it's not even a thing at the moment.
So
it's not
can't.
No, but hopefully there'll be. I mean, we have we work closely with different restaurants and stuff to have a Forest Green product. So, for example, in Stroud, there's a pizzeria called Fat Tony's Pizza.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the sign at the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they actually have a Forest Green Rovers pizza on their menu. It wasn't made by me or anything like that. It's their pizza, but it's a vegan pizza. So and it's just it's
cool.
Part of our partnership. So that's pretty cool. So we look at doing more stuff like that with certain other brands and restaurants and everything like that. So that's pretty cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, time's got away from us. Can you believe it?
Hasn't it? Love a chat, don't we?
Love a chat. So when does the website launch, Jade? When can we check out these recipes?
I would say definitely by the end of the week.
Cool.
But that's, 100% by the end of the week. But I'm hoping the next few days. But, I'm just not going to say that just in case it's not.
So this podcast will be out after the website is launched.
Okay, cool. So hopefully everyone's enjoying my website.
Yeah, so hopefully if you pop onto it's jadesgreenkitchen.com, right?
It's jadesgreenkitchen.co.uk.
.co.uk. Okay.
Yeah.
Jade's Green Kitchen.
Actually, no, sorry, it is .com.
I thought it was.
Yes. Yeah, it is .com, yeah, because I've made one before under .co.uk and then I didn't, so it's .com, yeah, ignore me.
Cool.
But, I mean, it will take me a while to build up the blog posts. Yeah, totally. I'll be doing like one every few days, but yeah, eventually there'll be loads on there that people can scan through.
Really awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Yay.
Cool.
So let me know how you get on with that. And I hope everything's good with you in quarantine too, with your baby.
It's good. Yeah. Huge respect to all of the nursery assistants and school teachers out there, because their gig is not easy.
God, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, we're just trying to cope with the little man, who is absolutely wonderful, and it's awesome spending loads of time with him. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge trying to do a full-time job and keep little Arthur entertained.
Oh, bless. I can imagine.
But I think, as I mentioned to you earlier, talking of Forest Green connections, ever since his last visit there, which was the first one that he can remember, because the first time he went, he was far too small. He was like literally asleep, sort of baby size. And so the last time he went, which was, I don't know when, time's all a bit of a blur now, but it was probably about 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. He met the Green Devil, which, for people who don't know, is the Forest Green Rovers like mascot. Hangs out with all the kids, and he was so taken aback by this sort of thing that he'd never seen anything like, that he still, from time to time, shouts Green Devil at the football match, is what he says. Oh
my God, that's so adorable. Even when you're not watching Forest Green?
No, honestly, he just randomly shouts it. But yeah, he does do it sometimes when we're watching Forest Green, which we can do through, there's a Forest Green live thing that you can watch.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So so we do that. We have that. We're subscribers of that. So sometimes we've got it on the telly. And he does, I'm sure he recognises the green kits or whatever, but he shouts Green Devil at the football match.
That's adorable. So, bless him.
Yeah, so that's his big takeaway from that and your sausage rolls. He's
really? Did you like them?
Big fan of sausage rolls, yeah. Big fan.
Amazing. So I'll have to get some sent to you.
He's not really that bothered about watching football just yet, but
yeah. But when he does, he'll be Forest Green's biggest fan.
I'm sure he will. The Green Devil and sausage rolls will keep him coming, I'm sure.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that's really sweet.
Great to talk to you, Jade, and good luck with the website. And
thank you.
Yeah, we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, good. Well, enjoy the rest of your quarantine. Don't work too hard.
We'll do. And you. See you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.